This video contains content that may not be suitable for all viewers. Viewers' discretion is advised. People are finally admitting that there is a difference between the way black people are policed and the way white people are policed. I really think that it is only because that people were starting to call these leaders out. And I really believe what they say is that the new black media is taking over. They are listening. Joe Biden tried to get up there and say how bad it was. I mean, I know he's just not knowing this. He should have been know this, that there is a difference between the way black people are handled by the police and the way white people are handled by the police. These white people, they are not going to kill each other unless they really have to. Black people, on the other hand, well, they want to kill you anyway. That is why we get treated different than from the way white people are treated. I mean, you had the Black Lives Matter, these other different protests at the nation's capital on the steps, and people were being pepper sprayed and shot with rubber bullets just for standing there. But you had this group of white people that stormed the nation's capital, busted out windows, got inside, and just ransacked the place. And the cops did nothing. When these protests are being organized, they have to get permits. So they know well in advance about the protest. But they are always prepared for when black people protest. But when white people protest, I guess they give the cops the day off. And when they finally sent in some police officers, I don't really believe that they sent in the top cops. That protest yesterday proved one thing, that there is such a thing as white privilege. Now, 4 white people were killed, 2 men and 2 women. And I think about 50 were arrested out of the thousands that were there. And this is another thing. When these people stormed the nation's capital, made it inside, all they had to do, the authorities, was to surround the damn place, go room to room and arrest everybody inside the nation's capital. They didn't do it. They let them walk on out. It is even reported that when they started rushing toward the barricades, that they did like an old lady, moved the barricades out the way and let the terrorists in. You know, people say all the time that the average cop is a coward. And I saw that black cop that was backpedaling, basically running from the Trump supporters when he had a gun on his hip. What is he doing running? I mean, for the people say about cops being cowards, that black cop, he fits the description. And I am wondering, where did all these thousands of damn white folks come from? That's a lot of damn white people. And I'm willing to bet the reason the cops didn't come because the cops were part of the protest. You know, every time that black people have a protest, I always say that black people don't know how to protest. It's just like a public airing out, your public venting. That is not a protest. If you want to know how to protest, watch these white people. They know how to protest. They know how to let their voices be heard. They know how to let people feel what they've been feeling. I heard this one person saying that Donald Trump went and hid in his bunker. What else did you think he was going to do? One thing about politicians, they are all talk and no action. He doesn't have to perform any action because he has an army behind him. He has a police force behind him, maybe some security guards or bodyguards. They never fight their own battles. And one thing I've said, which you people don't want to listen or want to try to believe, is that you white people have been played by Donald Trump. Just as black people were played by Barack Obama, you white people were played by Donald Trump. Rich people don't care about poor people. Only thing a rich person cares about is more money. He knows that he needs poor people to do the work, but other than that, he doesn't care about the poor. He doesn't care about a Joe Plumber. I mean, he doesn't do manual labor. So why would he care anything about a person that does manual labor? He doesn't hang out with people that does manual labor. But these protesters, they came kind of prepared a little bit. I mean, they had their own little tear gas spray. They even found some pipe bombs. So they were preparing for something. And I saw this one guy had this shirt on talking about Civil War. I mean, if you idiots thought that what you did at the nation's capital would start some type of civil war, whew, I see why you thought Donald Trump was going to help you. You know, before Donald Trump became president, long before he became president, he said that Republicans are dumb. And you Republicans have yet to prove him wrong. And I hate to say it, but I got to say it. People that vote Democrat are dumb too. You know what tripped me about people that vote Democrat is that they look at these people like they're part of them. These people are rich as well. They don't care about poor people, whether it's a Democrat or a Republican. Now here it is, the Democrats, well, Joe Biden's about to be president a few weeks here, and they still trying to push a measly $600. As long as people not at work since March. People have lost businesses, have lost homes. Some people even lost their lives. And for all of that, $600. While the people up in Congress, they're steady drawing a paycheck, lying to the American people. We're working hard for you. The only thing they're working hard at is to keep on deceiving you and to keep the position that they have. That's what they work hard at. You know, people say, you can imagine what happened if there had been black folks at the nation's capital. I don't think they would allow that many black people in there in the first place. That many black people would never have made it. They would have had the National Guard. They'd probably call out the real army. Forget the National Guards. You know, we seen what they did up in Ferguson. So we know what they can do when they want to do it. But it's just that they have a certain group of people who really like doing it too. And that is us. Whichever cop shot that white lady, I'm quite sure he's somewhere on his knees praying to God, begging for forgiveness. The fool just may commit suicide. You know, now they want to pretend as if that they were understaffed, which I do not believe. You mean to tell me that you are not ready for an invasion? Suppose it was a real invasion. That means the White House or the Capitol building would have been taken over because you weren't prepared, and you have everybody thinking you're prepared. All this military defense funds, these special weapons, and all these different troops. You can't protect the nation's capital from a group of rednecks. You know, some people may think that I feel one way or another about what happened. I have no feelings about it. You know, because like I say, I know how you treat black people. And to see you get it done to you, hey, it makes me smile. I heard one of those Trump supporters say that they were infiltrated by Antifa. Welcome to the party. Now you know how it feels to be infiltrated. You know, I've attended a few protests, and the last protest that I attended, where I think it's for these great good jobs for America, something like that, was John Corrigan had turned down the money that Obama had sent Texas. At the protest, I noticed thousands of white people out there. Like, where the hell all these white people come from? I found out that they have people that are professional protesters. Whenever there's a protest going on, they call these other people from all around the world to come join the protest. The original organizers of the protest, they have an agenda. But those people that join on to the protest, they have an agenda as well. That's why there's always a mess going on. Somebody wants to break something. Somebody wants to burn something. Somebody wants to harm an individual. That's to mess up the protest. This one lady on one of these news blogs is going to try to compare the protest about talking about the Black Lives Matter, burn down this and that. And I'm like, no matter how much evidence that we have that white people were out there setting the fires and busting windows, you still gonna say that black people did it. That's the irony of racist white people. I'm white and I said so. I don't care what you say, you did it. You know, when I hear these black protesters always screaming, no justice, no peace, which I cannot understand because what you mean by no peace? You're not going to do a damn thing. These black protesters are not going to do nothing. They never do, and maybe one day they will, but I don't see it happening no time soon. You know, black people have not sat down and wrote out a real agenda. We just kind of like freestyling. You know, those protesters up at the nation's capital, I don't even know if they had a plan or not. Because, I mean, like, I don't understand why that lady who busted through that window did not have on some type of body armor. I mean, that's like a death sentence, what she did. She should have been protected with something more than a Trump flag. But although she got shot and killed, that did not stop the rest of those terrorists. I mean, like when black people hear a gunshot crowd, hey man, it's going to disperse. But I notice these white people, when they hear shots fired, they're going to keep pressing forward. They're not going to stop. Their philosophy is, hey, you might get one or two of us, but you're not going to get all of us. And these charges that they're talking about bringing against these protesters, I think they said with this new law or rule that Donald Trump had put in where they're going to receive an automatic 10 years. I mean, I'm always skeptical about when white people go to jail because how do we actually know that they are in jail? How do we know they're not in some type of witness protection program? You gave them a lump of money and told them to go lay low somewhere for a little while. I mean, there has to be some type of hanky-panky going on because of the way the cops interacted with those protesters, laughing and smiling, taking selfies. Is that reminds me of that white boy who shot them people at the church. Gonna take him out, these some McDonald's. These people have broke into the nation's capital, destroying property, and the cops stand there taking selfies. If this many black people had made it into the nation's capital illegally, uninvited, I think that they would have to have some type of freezer truck outside to put all those dead bodies in, because you know they would have cut loose. I keep saying America is going to destroy itself. One thing about when you're in a battle, you have to know who the enemy is. And while you're looking for some person of another race, it might be someone from your own race that could be your enemy. And while this mob of terrorists had broken into the nation's capital, you had all the other people on the inside running and hiding. That's why I keep saying a lot of these politicians, they get up on TV and talk like they tough, want to talk this tough talk, pointing fingers and slamming their fists on the table or on the banner. But when it comes time to show toughness, they run and they hide. I mean, just look at this cop here. Doesn't even have his mask on properly, and these other Trump supporters don't have masks on. So expect a surge in coronavirus cases in the nation's capital here in the next few weeks. I mean, I've seen videos where black people having a little party. Here come all the damn cops talking about social distancing. But I don't see social distancing right here. It's only until they want to enforce these laws. And who are the ones that they always enforce it upon? It's always black people. And they keep thinking that all you black folks are just complaining. I'm like Richard Pryor. You people are just resisting arrest. But now, the whole world has seen it. And you know what? The whole world already knows. When George Floyd was killed, I was watching news clips from around the world. And people were saying, I heard it, but I never saw it with my own eyes until today. And that's all that you seeing it is only confirmation. We've been telling you this all along, but you don't want to believe us. You got to see it for your own self. Well, what about this white privilege right there? All this white privilege you see, this just has to stop. This country is going to fall because of white privilege. You already talking about Joe Biden talking about white people are going to be minority if they aren't already the minority. I mean, you scared of one day that people will come into power that you have misused. And when those people come into power, they are going to misuse you. And by the way you are doing things, have done things, and you continue to do things, what else is going to happen? You know, I really hate to speak ill of people. But one thing I've noticed about those protesters, if you may call them that, is they all look like a bunch of dumb hillbillies, a bunch of dumb rednecks, a bunch of toothless, beer belly rednecks. I'm an American. This nation's capital. This is my house. I come in if I want to. And came in, they did. At least not before a couple of them got popped. But they still came in Nancy Pelosi's office. All over the place. Went to one office, throwing paperwork around. Tried to find those ballots so they could destroy them. And you are saying that, we got to wait and review the tapes and try to see who these people are so we can arrest them. When you had them all, then all you had to do was surround the nation's capital. And anybody that's not on your list goes to jail. But you didn't want these people to go to jail. They tried to get Donald Trump to send in the National Guards. He didn't do it till about 3 or 4 hours later. He gave those people every opportunity to leave. But some of the dummies stayed. I mean, I hope you rednecks know that some of y'all are going to be used as an example. Some of you probably will go to prison. Now, once you get to prison, I mean, by prisons being ran by white people, he might get he might get some good treatment down there. As I'm saying, there's no guarantee he might be going to jail. I mean, because we don't know. We don't have anybody down there at the jailhouse to check and see is such and such down there like they said he was. All we can do is take your word for it. And we know what type of word you have. No good. I mean, but honestly, I hear white people hollering about black-on black crime. It is very refreshing to see some white-on-white crime for a change. And another good thing about all of this is that we haven't talked about COVID-19 for a couple of days. Finally, something has made the top spot besides COVID-19. Before you take these old serious beatdowns, I'm going to tell you, man, there's nothing wrong with running. I mean, you can run and regroup and come back and fight another day. I mean, what is that on this guy's jaw? A tooth?
Protesters marching toward the U.S. Capitol. Then all hell breaks loose. As the demonstrators approached the United States Capitol grounds, them came prepared for violence. It was clear that the crowd released to force entry into the United States Capitol building. But instead of standing their ground, images show Capitol Police removing the barriers, turning, walking away. Protesters pressed forward, eventually breaking windows and forcing their way into the Capitol. Inside, chaos, a mob, and here one Capitol Hill police officer facing off with the angry crowd.
Y'all hear me? Back up.
Capitol. Any pre-planned event requires a permit per Capitol policy. This rally had been advertised online for over a week. So they had a permit for all of it anyway? So they had a permit for some of this?
Who's that?
Like this group here, like before the wave had a permit?
There's 6 weddings scheduled here today. We have permits for it. Make it priority.
Even though the protesters did not have a permit to occupy the rotunda, this video suggests they did have a prior understanding established with Capitol Police Chief Tubbs.
You told me you were going to help me